The Edmonton Oilers just played a thrilling game versus the Los Angeles Kings to start the playoffs with a 7-4 win. But one player in particular really left his mark on the game, and I wanted to take a moment to give him some more credit and really just talk about how vital he'll be for the Oilers' hopes of a deep playoff run. And no, I'm not talking about McDavid, although as usual, he was phenomenal. In this particular video, I wanted to talk about Zach Hyman a little bit more and talk about the incredible game he had, but really just in the context of the incredible season he also had. Hyman in this game would rack up an impressive 4 points with a hat trick to open the playoffs, and his scoring is really the most important thing I wanted to focus on because it has been invaluable to the Oilers the entire season, and he currently leads the playoffs in goals. Now, small sample size, only a game has been played for a lot of these teams, but Hyman actually had by far his best scoring season of his career, racking up an impressive 54 goals, which is actually third in the NHL among all players, which was actually up from his previous career high set last season with 36 goals, so a major increase in goals. Now, to be fair, his assists were down from last season, but that's only natural because his responsibility has shifted from more of a playmaker to the Oilers' primary goal scorer, and it was him who led all Oilers players with goals this year. The next closest player to his 54 goal mark on the Oilers was Draisaitl with 41 goals, so I just wanted to put into context how valuable his goal scoring has been all season for his team, and how vital his goal scoring will be to their playoff hopes. And in fact, in just one playoff game this year, Hyman has as many goals as he had all last postseason. And he played in 12 playoff games last year, so that's kind of crazy. Also, something else that's important to note is 2 years ago when the Oilers made their conference final run, Hyman was actually primarily a goal scorer with 11 goals and 5 assists in 16 games, which was not the case at all last year when he had 3 goals and 8 assists in 12 games. So in other words, when Hyman was primarily a goal scorer in the playoffs, now there were other factors as well, but when Hyman was primarily a goal scorer, the Oilers did better in the playoffs. So I'm sure with him taking on that responsibility of being their primary goal scorer, the Oilers are hoping to repeat some of that magic and take it even further. Now, Hyman actually set the tone early for the Oilers by netting the first goal of the game just 6 minutes into the period from a pass from who other than Connor McDavid. As I mentioned, McDavid also had an incredible game with 5 assists, so he was also incredible. But this goal was just a nice wrist shot to open the playoffs for them. But not only did Hyman set the tone with his goals for the game, but also just 3 minutes after opening the scoring, he would assist Adam Henrique on a nice snapshot goal to give the Oilers the 2-0 lead. And obviously, while Hyman has primarily been a goal scorer, he can certainly still make some beautiful passes, as evidenced throughout his career, where playmaking was more so his responsibility in the past. And kind of a fun fact, back when Hyman was on the Maple Leafs, he actually assisted on Auston Matthews' first ever NHL goal. And I personally know some Leafs fans who wish they had this version of Hyman on the team, especially if you had him with Auston Matthews. Now, chances are one of their goals would go down because Auston Matthews led the league in goals, Hyman was third, but obviously that was some time ago and Hyman is a very different player from them. Now, Hyman was far from done impacting this game, as just 5 minutes into the second, he would net a snapshot from, once again, Connor McDavid to make it a 3-0 game, so Hyman's strong start really had the Oilers rolling in this first playoff game. Now, both of these teams would trade back and forth a couple of goals, making it 5-2 when just 6 minutes into the third, Hyman would tip in a power play goal, giving him the hat trick, and for the most part sealing the game. And his ability to capitalize on the power play will be massive if the Oilers hope for that deep playoff run, as this year he racked up 15 power play goals for the Oilers, which was second only to Leon Draisaitl's 21. Every other player on their team had 8 or fewer power play goals, so Hyman racked up nearly twice as many power play goals as the next highest person on their team. So Hyman and Draisaitl's ability to score on the power play will be massive. But it's not just his goal scoring or overall assist, but his overall impact on the game, and his plus minus definitely reflects that. Now obviously scoring and assisting helps plus minus, I mean that's obvious, but there's definitely other things you can do that helps plus minus, and Hyman had the best plus minus of the game with a +2. No other player had over a +1. Not even McDavid, who actually had 1 more point this game than him. Hyman actually had the second best plus-minus on the Oilers this year, with a +36, only trailing their defenseman Ekholm. So clearly while he's out there, good things happen. Now the Kings would get a couple more goals, making it a little bit more interesting, but for the most part this game was out of reach, and the Oilers would get an empty netter closing the score 7-4. But as I mentioned, I really just wanted to talk about Hyman a little bit more because, well, one, he had a phenomenal start to the playoffs, but really just talk about him more so in the overall context of the season and how vital he'll be to their playoff hopes